Ukraine's economy needs $5 billion a month for the next 3 months to stay afloat. That's according to the country's finance minister. He told me current cash revenue is barely half of what the country needs for its primary budget expenses. Ukraine estimates suggest $120 billion worth of infrastructure damage in just the first month of the war alone. $29 billion worth of housing has been destroyed. Nearly a third of all companies in Ukraine have ground to a halt. That gives you a sense of the devastation of the economy that we're seeing too. Now, Finance Minister Marchenko is in Washington, D.C. for talks, and amid various estimates of what the country actually requires, I asked him to clarify.
It's a good question because right now we need to explain it for all our meetings in G7, G20, that right now we need a bridge to be normal. So we need time for our army to win this war, so for our people to get necessary support from the government. That's why the right figure is $5 billion per month, and we just want to safeguard necessary amount for 3 months, April, May and June. And then we realize how to fix our balance sheet, our budget, and to prepare a necessary step, maybe to increase some tax policy measures or maybe some cuts on our expenditures, because you know it's not so easy made a reduction on your expenses, because we already made a $6 billion reduction of our budget, US dollar. So I haven't seen enough room to do another cutting.
$15 billion for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Is that for every month the war continues? So if the war continues, you'll need more?
You know, we'll prefer to think that we can win this war as early as possible, because it's a mood of our people, it's a behavior of our army. So we will prefer to tell about this very short period of time, because if it will continue longer, we will have to do other steps.
And how long will the currently committed financing, including the money that the central bank has raised, the war bonds that you've issued, how long will that last you if you don't get this support now? How long have you got?
You know, we already collected through our war bonds around $1 billion per month. Also, our central bank supports us a little bit, but you know, we can't rely on them in huge conditions, because it could create some inflation spiral, and we want to prevent this spiral. So for us, it's very important to find enough support from our international partners, from IMF, from World Bank, from different other countries, in a way to flood our budget with foreign aid money to be able to support our currency, to support our economy.
The International Institute of Finance said even if that gap that we're talking about is only $3 billion, the amount of external financing you have won't last you beyond the end of this month. I guess the point that I'm trying to get at is what the international community need to realize is this is an emergency. It's a financial emergency.
Yes, we also reiterated this message again and again. We don't want you to support us for a long period of time. We need this short period of time to receive as much support as possible. It could be some armored vehicles, it could be weapons, but of course the most important one, as a Minister of Finance, for us is additional money from abroad which we can use on our needs. Because this money we can just spend on some humanitarian needs, for social protection for our people. You know, I just tell you one figure. Our revenue now covers only 54% of our primary budget spendings, which excluded debt service and excluded military. So we excluded military spending, and our revenue is just not enough to cover all our budget needs.
Yeah, it's a stark fact. You've also said you need grants, not loans, and you at the Finance Ministry have shared where the money's coming from, and it's primarily government borrowing and its war bonds, and that is incredibly expensive money to raise. You came to the IMF and said, look, there are other options. There are the unused COVID funds, the special drawing rights. You'd welcome 15-year loans at a 1% interest rate. What concrete proposals have you heard and promises have you heard of money? Because these are good suggestions.
Yeah, we proposed several options how different countries can support Ukraine. One option is, you mentioned before, IMF administrated account, which can collect some SDR which not spread through economy of different countries, which collected on their accounts, which allocated by IMF in 2021. And we eager to ask different countries to just share some part of this special drawing rights to Ukraine, so to get us alive in this very critical moment of time. Another option I want to mention as well is a multi-donor trust fund which was created by World Bank. It's another option. Except of special drawing rights, you can provide us some guarantees, some direct loans through this mechanism. So, and we discussed this with our partners, with G7 countries, with G20 countries, in a way that countries can choose either to provide us SDR or to provide us guarantee or loans through multi-donor trust funds.
Are they open to it? Did they say yes?
It's question of their internal discussions, but what I want to tell you is that there are huge expectations around that people support us, that they provide us some great messages that we, with you, Sergey, so we can find necessary pressure on our politicians to give your support. But again, I just want to tell you only for this particular moment of time, I am happy to tell you that United States provide us additional grant finance, $500 million. It was mentioned yesterday by your president.
Yeah, President Biden, I know, spoke to your president Prime Minister yesterday too. Do you get the sense that America will continue to provide weapons, to provide money until you win the war?
I feel this desire to help Ukraine. And it's not just only words, it's real actions. And I'm very grateful that support the United States provide for Ukraine. And I also want to mention Canada. Chrystia Freeland is a great friend of Ukraine. I also want to mention the United Kingdom, as well as other countries of our partners. But again and again, I want these messages be compromised or transferred into real money in our budget, because we really needed it right now.
I know, and the truth is what you're asking for is a fraction of the $40 to $50 billion that Europe has paid to Russia since this invasion began for energy supplies. And at the heart of that is Germany. Your government refused to welcome the president of Germany recently to Kyiv. Germany is also struggling to provide heavy weaponry. What's the message to Germany at this moment from the Ukrainian government? To the German people?
I don't want to be a diplomat right now because I'm Minister of Finance. So I met with my German colleague and we discussed the possibility to additional support from Germany to Ukraine. And you mentioned that Russia received $1 billion per day from oil supply, just only oil supply to different countries. And we have more than $60 million per day losses. So if you compare these figures, you can realize how suffering we are.
I know. I'm going to ask you to be a diplomat and a representative of your government one more time, because the last time you and I spoke, you said Ukraine will not give up 1 inch of territory to Russia